Welcome back, mamas. Y'all, today we are going to talk about being present, how to be present. What are different ways that can make you a more present mama, which we all want, right? So let's get to it. Do you wish you had control of your days, that you had a rhythm, but instead feel overwhelmed, scattered, and like there's never enough time? You're in the right place. I'm Danielle, a recovering workaholic, wife, and stay-at-home mom of two girls. I've learned how to reclaim my time and find purpose and freedom so I can be present with my kids and feel like myself again. Here, we embrace where we are, but we don't stay there. So if you're ready to trade the chaos for clarity, the guilt for grace, and the endless to-do list for aligned flow, grab the kiddos a snack and toss in that laundry because I know you're multitasking, and let's do this because your time, your purpose, and you matter. Okay, mamas. So today we are going to talk about being present. We talked a lot last week about how we can get peace in our lives. What we want in our lives is peace and being present in their moments with our children and in our lives. And so I started to think about, what does that actually mean? Like, what does being present mean? And how do we achieve that? How are we able to be present in our moments? What does that look like? Because we, especially in the holiday season, right? We can get caught up in this busy. We have so many things on our to-do list on a regular, any given day, right? But when it comes to the holidays and Christmas, we have a lot more on our plate. And so we tend to just go from one thing to the next, and we aren't able to be present in our moments. And we miss out on so much of our lives, right? Of when our kids are in this precious time when they are littles. And sometimes it may not feel so precious around the holidays, especially because things can be more chaotic. And I'm not saying we have to pare back and not do as much, right? Maybe that is something that you want to think about. But even in the midst of all of the things that you have going on, I talked last week about some things you can do to make that a little bit easier. But this week, I want to talk about how we get to that point where we can be present with our kids. And what does that mean? How do we do that? And what does it look like? Okay. So I'm going to start with a quote. This one, I think I may have shared this on the podcast a long time ago. It's from James Pierce, and it says, "The moment is not found by seeking it, but by ceasing to escape from it." The moment is not found by seeking it, but by ceasing to escape from it. We are present when we are trying to be present, right? But how do we do that? How can we try to be present in our present moment? So some of the things that I was thinking about are just how we go, right? Like we have our phone out at all times, like even, in the grocery store, wherever we are, we have our phones out. A lot of times we are using them as a tool to help us do whatever it is that we're doing. I know for shopping, a lot of times I have my list on my phone. I have apps on my phone that, that allow me to download coupons, or, I do the Yuka thing. So I'm using them in the grocery store. But sometimes what happens is we lose that human connection. If you are blessed enough to be able to shop by yourself, this is maybe a little bit easier than if you have littles with you, because your eyes have to be on them, you are shopping and doing whatever. But if you can just make eye contact with people that you encounter, right? Just make eye contact with them. Making eye contact and actually smiling, like a little smile. You don't have to make it weird, nothing too horrible here, right? But just making eye contact with another human being and actually having a human moment where you smile can help you to feel like you are in this world, like you aren't just going. Like there are other people in this world that are having, the same struggles as you, different struggles than you. They're doing the same thing. They're there shopping for whatever reason. Some of them are in a hurry. Most of them are in a hurry, right? Some of them are happy. Some of them are sad. Some of them are mad, whatever, frustrated. But you can have a human moment and be more present in your moment if you are trying to make a connection with another human being, when you're in the checkout, especially, like a lot of times, I am guilty of this as well, of going through the checkout line that is just the, self-scan or whatever. I don't go to a person who has to scan me out. I just want to do it myself and get out of there, right? Unless there's some reason why I need to go to the regular line. But I always try to smile at the person. There's always a person that's like policing that area or whatever. Sometimes, they're MIA and you cannot find them, but you can smile at them, say hello, tell them thank you as you leave, even if they didn't help you do anything, right? Just having that moment with another person can make you be more present in your moments, right? Another thing you can do is actually listen. Now, this sounds like, okay, yeah, I know I should listen, but like, how often do we think we're listening, but we're not actually listening? If it's to our children, if it's to our spouse, if it's to whatever, we are not actually listening. We are doing something else and listening. And then sometimes we realize, guess what? We weren't really listening, right? Especially if it's a child that's like interrupting you while you're cooking or interrupting you while you're doing who knows what, right? The laundry, all of the things. Like you are doing two things at once. And so you aren't fully listening to them. You can find yourself tuning out, but actually making eye contact with your child or your spouse or whoever is talking to you and literally thinking about listening to them, listening to what they are saying and absorbing it, right? When do we do that? Right? We do that maybe like at the dinner table or, sometimes we might do that, but how often do we forget to do that, to sit there and listen, to take the time to listen? I know sometimes your kid has all these stories. Especially if you're in the young toddler ages when their minds are so creative and going, we might have a million stories. But what if you just took a minute or a few minutes, right? And sat down and just listened to your child and their full out story, maybe participate in it with them, right? That is something that could wind up bringing you so much joy. It will make you to be present in the moment, right? And you will see how much you can appreciate that presence in the moment. No multitasking. No multitasking. So this one for me would be super duper hard. But when you are doing 2, 3, 5, 10 things at once, you're not doing any of them well, right? And so if we just do one task at a time, one thing at a time, we are able to be present in the thing that we are doing. Right? Another thing you can do is to intentionally sit down and think about what it is that you're putting in your mouth. So if it is a snack that you're having, if it is your morning coffee, if it is your lunch or dinner, you may not always have the luxury of being able to sit there and think about what it is that you're eating. Like we do not think about it. Half the time we're shoving stuff in as we're doing something else, right? Or even with our morning coffee, we aren't thinking about how it's tasting, how it is warm. These are things that you can sit there and you can think about, and they'll help you to be present in the moment. One way that I find that is really helpful to bring you back to the present moment, to make you be more present in your moments, is to do a gratitude journal. To sit there and think about each and every day, each and every evening, each and every night before you go to bed, before you lay your head down on your pillow, to actually think about the things that you were grateful for that day. Think about the things that you were grateful for. Write them down. Sit there and list them out. I have a quote I want to share from Jeremiah Say that says, "It's not happiness that brings us gratitude. It's gratitude that brings us happiness," right? We aren't happy and then we get gratitude, right? We are thankful for being happy, right? It becomes a habit. When you give thanks, then it makes you happy, right? When you give thanks for things, it makes you appreciate them more. It makes you realize all the things that you have to be grateful for. I have another quote from Aesop that says, Aesop, Aesop. It says, gratitude turns what we have into enough. Gratitude turns what we have into enough. Enough time, right? Enough money, enough. It turns what we have already into enough when we sit there and we think about all the things that we have to be grateful for. It then brings this happiness, this peace. We are able to be more present in our moments when we start to look for things to be thankful for as well. This is another thing that kind of helps you when you start doing this gratitude, like each and every night. It makes you think about what you were grateful for that day. But what you start to recognize is that when you are in that habit of being grateful, you'll start to recognize throughout the day things that you are then grateful for. So the gratitude actually brings about this peace, this happiness. You're able to be more present in your moments because you are looking for things to be grateful for. You are looking for things to be thankful for. And because you're being thankful and grateful for things, you are also getting a happiness from that, right? You are achieving happiness because you are grateful. Sometimes this gratitude, taking the time to do a gratitude journal can seem super intimidating, but I promise you that it is one of the most rewarding things. If you take the time to do it, you will start to see the benefits in your life. Another thing that I thought of that you can do is just to list things that you enjoy. So think about things that you enjoy. What are these things, right? Like, what do you enjoy doing? What are the things that you enjoy? And then what is it like moments you enjoy, like experiences you enjoy? Think about those and list them out. And then take it one step further and think about why you enjoy those things. Right? Why is it that you enjoy those things? Do they bring you, what does it bring you? Like, what is it about doing those things or those things in particular, if it's an actual item or whatever, just to think about why it is that you enjoy them, right? Once you start to think about that, then you can start producing more of that in your life because then you are figuring out what it is exactly that is bringing you joy. And you can look for different ways to bring yourself joy once you know what brings you joy, right? It seems so weird that we wouldn't know what brings us joy, but a lot of times we are too, go, go, go all of the time. We don't take the time to reflect back and we just get caught in this circle and this cycle of busy. And when we want to be present, we need to get back to the basics, right? We need to just think about what it is that brings us joy and why. And then we can look and start to do more of those things and we can be more present in our moments, right? We can be more present. I'm going to end with one last quote here. And this is from Willie Nelson. It says, "When I started counting my blessings, my whole life turned around." When I started counting my blessings, my whole life turned around. That is going to the gratitude. That is going to present moments. Like, it is every single thing that you do when you start counting your blessings, when you start recognizing how much you already have, when you start being grateful, you are able to be more present. You are able to be more happy and more joyful. Your whole life could turn around just by doing some of these things that I just listed here in this episode, because you are thinking about how to produce more of what you want in your life. Right? Blessings bring more blessings. I always talk about how I root in God and how I have to have, my devotional time and my Bible time in the morning. And when I don't have it, my whole day suffers, right? And so sometimes I can even pray about bringing things into my life that will bring me more peace. What will bring me? Ask God. Ask him what it is. You will be surprised, right? He will actually answer. You will start to recognize things more easily. If you find yourself having a hard time doing any of those things, start with him. Ask him for help with whatever it is. Ask him for help doing the gratitude. That may seem silly to you, but I promise you, it is not silly. It is not silly when you want to bring these things into your life. Sometimes you have to break the circle. right? You have to break the cycle. You are caught in a pattern and a way of doing things. And when you break the cycle and you break the circle, then you're able to do things in a whole different way. Right? But until we sit there and we think about it and we're just going, right? And we never sit down and take the time to do these things or to, take the time to be actually present with someone, to sit there and listen, to have the eye contact, right? These are all things that you can do that will make you more present in your present moment, and they will bring you more joy and you will be more present with your children. Right? And this is exactly what it is that we want as mothers, because we don't want to look back and think, wow, that was just a blur. I don't even remember, the toddler years, or I don't even remember, whatever it was, the whole Christmas. Like, I can't even remember. It was just all a blur. Right? That is not what we want, right? We want to be present. We want to remember these things. We want to cherish this time with our kids. And this is a way that will help you to do that. And so I hope that this landed with you today. I hope that you'll take some of these things and start to try them, because once you start doing one or two, then you'll be able to do more and more. And if you're going to start with just one that, doesn't take any time whatsoever, just start with the making eye contact with people, right? And then when you feel like you can take it a step further, then stop what you're doing and listen, right? Listen, stop what you're doing and listen. No multitasking, right? And then take it a step further. And the gratitude journal, that is a life changer. If you can bring yourself to do that, I know it's going to be hard. I am not telling you it's not going to be hard when you start it, because you're going to be grasping for straws of what to be grateful for. It's going to seem silly, the things that you're writing down. But once you start to do it, you will get in the habit of it, and it will become something that will bring you joy. Okay? I promise you that. And if you need help with this or anything else, please go to my website, prioritizewithpurpose.com, and sign up for a prioritization clarity call with me. I can help you to do these things and so much more. This is what I do. It's what I love to do. And so please go to prioritizewithpurpose.com/coaching and sign up for a prioritization clarity call or just a discovery call. It's free and you can see if this is right for you. So until Thursday, y'all. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, Mama. If so, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and then hit share and send this to a mom who needs this in her day. I'll meet you right here on Thursday. Keep smiling, y'all.